She couldn't defend herself, no matter how hard she tried. After returning to her hospital room, Tang Su's right eyelid began to twitch uncontrollably, and she had a sinking feeling that something terrible was about to happen. However, Lu Huizhua hadn't come looking for trouble, and just moments ago, she received a call from the hospital saying they'd found matching hematopoietic stem cells for Xiaoshen. Severe thalassemia could be cured through a hematopoietic stem cell transplant, but because Xiaoshen had a rare blood type, finding a match had been extremely difficult. That was why she'd always believed her only hope lay in using the umbilical cord blood from her second child to save Xiaoshen. She never expected things would take such a dramatic turn. She'd lost her daughter, yet now Xiaoshen had a chance at survival. The surgery would cost 1 million yuan, and she needed to find a way to raise the money before she died. Just as she was agonizing over how to gather the funds, her phone suddenly rang urgently. It was her biological mother, Shen Shui. Su, I was wrong before. I shouldn't have refused to help Xiaoshen. After all, he's my own grandson. Even if he has a life-threatening illness, I can't just stand by and do nothing. Your father and I discussed it, and we've decided to sell our house back home. We'll get over 1 million from it. That money will go towards Xiaoshen's treatment. I've already transferred the money to my bank account. I'm at Nian Nian's hospital room now. Come and pick up the card. Mom, thank you so much. Tang Su said sincerely, her heart overflowing with gratitude. She was her mother's biological daughter, yet for some reason, her mother seemed to favor Lin Nian Nian more, almost as if, when both were hospitalized, her mother would visit Lin Nian Nian but wouldn't even step into her room. But none of that mattered anymore. The fact that her mother was willing to sell their family home to save Xiaoshen proved she truly cared for her daughter after all, and Tang Su should be grateful. Over 1 million yuan. That would be enough to restore Xiaoshen to health. Even if she died tomorrow, she could die in peace. Feeling relieved, Tang Su happily got out of bed and headed toward Lin Yanyan's room. She absolutely hated seeing Lin Yanyan's face, but today, for Xiaoshen's sake and that million-plus sum, she'd endure it. As soon as she reached the door of Lin Yanyan's room, Shen Shui abruptly pulled her inside. A strong metallic smell of blood hit her nose. Tang Su quickly turned her head aside and saw Su Cha-Cha lying motionless in a pool of blood. Tang Su despised Lin Yanyan, but she genuinely admired Su Cha-Cha. Su Cha-Cha was her favorite actress, without a single exception. Seeing her idol lying there covered in blood shocked her deeply, and her eyes instantly stung with tears. Mom, how did Aunt Su get injured? With injuries this severe, why haven't you called a doctor? Huizhua, Dad, come quick! Tang Su killed Mom. Lin Yanyan's voice came through the phone, piercing Tang Su's ears. She froze in shock. In an instant, countless thoughts flashed through her mind. All of them converged on one terrifying possibility. Lin Yanyan had harmed Su Cha-Cha and was framing her to take the fall. Tang Su wasn't foolish enough to wait around and be framed. She yanked her hand free from Shen Shui's grip and rushed toward the door. But Shen Shui had worked on construction sites in her youth. Tang Su's strength was no match for hers. She was firmly restrained and couldn't escape. Finally, Shen Shui let go, but immediately afterward, Lin Xiao burst through the door, followed closely by Lu Huizhua. Seeing Su Cha-Cha lying lifelessly in the blood-soaked floor, both Lin Xiao and Lu Huizhua's eyes turned red with rage. Cha-Cha! Aunt Cha-Cha! Aunt Cha-Cha! Dad! Huizhua, you're finally here. Tang Su tried to kill me. Mom tried to stop her, but Tang Su ended up killing Mom. I'm injured. I can't move. I couldn't save her. Lin Yanyan sobbed uncontrollably, tears and snot streaming down her face. Why wasn't it me who died? Tang Su, my mom was such a good person. What crime did she commit that you had to kill her? Before Tang Su could even begin to defend herself, Lin Xiao had already tightly gripped her throat. He personally delivered her into prison. Why did you hurt Cha-Cha? Why did you hurt my Cha-Cha? I'll kill you. I'll avenge Cha-Cha. Lin Xiao was infamous in Haicheng as a wife-obsessed madman. Seeing the woman he cherished so deeply harmed like this, he had completely lost his mind. The force in his hands was so great it nearly snapped Tang Su's neck. No, it wasn't me. Tang Su gasped in pain, struggling to speak. It was Lin Yanyan. Yanyan. Lin Xiao's eyes turned even redder with rage. Yanyan is my and Cha-Cha's biological daughter. How could she possibly harm her own mother? You deserve to die. Tang Su couldn't understand it either. Why would Lin Yanyan want to kill her own mother? Just as she felt herself on the verge of being strangled to death by Lin Xiao, Lu Huizhua suddenly spoke up. Uncle Lin, Auntie Cha-Cha is still breathing. What? At Lu Huizhua's words, Lin Xiao immediately let go of Tang Su. He scooped Su Cha-Cha into his arms and rushed wildly outside, shouting for a doctor. Lin Yanyan and Shen Shui were both startled. They exchanged a glance, then quickly regained their composure. Even if Su Cha-Cha was still alive, they had countless ways to ensure she'd never speak again. Tang Su greedily gulped down the fresh air around her. Before she could even catch her breath, Lu Huizhua roughly seized her chin. Speak! Why did you harm Auntie Cha-Cha? Lu Huizhua had always been cold-hearted, but he genuinely loved and respected Su Cha-Cha, who had watched over him since childhood, like a mother. To the one responsible for destroying her life, he wished nothing less than 1,000 cuts. I told you it wasn't me. It was Lin Yan. She's the one who harmed Madame Lin. Lin Yan wiped her tears pitifully. It's all my fault. If only I hadn't needed saving, Mom wouldn't have gotten hurt like this. If anything happens to her, I don't want to live either. Lu Huizhua gave Lin Yan a look full of pity. Yan, it's not your fault. Tang Su is simply too vicious. She deserves to die. Hearing this, Shen Shuhui, who had been standing silently aside, suddenly dropped to her knees with a thud. Third young Master Lu, please spare Su. She didn't mean to hurt Madame Lin. She must have just acted out of impulse. When she tried to kill Yan, Madame Lin protected her fiercely. That's why Su went berserk and stabbed her. Shen Shui turned and grabbed Tang Su's hand, sobbing uncontrollably. Su, just tell third young Master Lu the truth. Even though you harmed Madame Lin, he's still your husband. He'll help you. Mom, what are you saying? Tang Su stared at Shen Shui in disbelief. I didn't harm Madame Lin at all. Why are you helping Lin Yan frame me like this? Mom, I'm your real daughter. Shen Shui glared at her, disappointed and frustrated. Su, it's precisely because you're my real daughter that I can't let you keep making mistakes. Ha! Lu Huizhua sneered like a demon, his icy gaze slicing into Tang Su like a blade. Tang Su, what more do you have to say now? No. Azuo, I didn't do it. Tang Su shook her head desperately. What she said isn't true. Tang Su, don't tell me your own mother is lying. Don't tell me she's deliberately framing you. Lu Huizhua curled his lips in mockery. She's your birth mother. I refuse to believe she'd betray her own flesh and blood. At those words, Tang Su suddenly lost all strength to defend herself. Yes, Shen Shui was her real mother. Even she couldn't believe her own mother would willingly throw her into hell. People say even a tiger won't eat its own cub, yet her mother wanted her dead. How absurd. Tang Su, you have nothing left to say, do you? You've done this to Auntie Cha-Cha. I'll make sure you rot in prison for the rest of your life. Lu Huizhua wasn't bluffing. He truly sent her to prison himself, to Qingshan Prison in Haicheng, known as a living hell. Tang Su still needed to raise money for Xiaoshen's surgery. She didn't want to spend her final days behind bars. She defended herself, even knelt and begged Lu Huizhua, but his heart remained as cold as stone. The moment Tang Su entered prison, she was brutally beaten. Already weak and ill, after the assault she couldn't even stand. Lying on the ground like mud, barely clinging to life, she wished she could just fall into eternal sleep. But thinking of Xiaoshen, fading away in the hospital bed, she forced herself to stay awake. Xiaoshen was waiting for her to gather the money to save his life. If she died, he would die too. No matter how hard it was, she had to survive. She kept hoping for a miracle, that Su Cha-Cha would suddenly wake up and clear her name. She waited in prison for a week. No news of Su Cha-Cha waking ever came. Instead, Lin Yan arrived. Chop off her hand. When Lin Yan arrived, Tang Su had just endured a brutal beating. She lay on the ground, skin torn open and bloodied all over, looking utterly wretched. Lin Yan was especially satisfied with Tang Su's pitiful state. She looked down at her coldly. Tang Su, are you happy with the lesson Huizhua gave you? Hearing Lin Yan's words, Tang Su's heart, already numb from pain, ached uncontrollably once more. This pain came from him. Fine. Perfect. Receiving no response from Tang Su, Lin Yan didn't get angry. Instead, she half squatted down, smirking cruelly. But Huizhua said giving you just this little taste of suffering isn't enough. As she spoke, Lin Yan took a knife from the bodyguard beside her. Seeing the gleaming Swiss Army knife, even Tang Su, as composed as she was, couldn't help but flinch in shock. Lin Yan, what are you doing? Lin Yan shook her head maliciously. Tang Su, you're asking the wrong question. You shouldn't be asking me what I'm going to do. You should be asking what Huizhua wants to do. Huizhua told me to chop off your hand. No way! Tang Su struggled to rise from the floor, shaking her head desperately as if trying to deny reality. I don't believe Ozwa would ever do this to me. Even though it was her Ozwa who had sent her to prison and ordered her beaten, she still refused to believe he would truly have someone cut off her hand. Don't believe it. Lin Yan waved the axe in her hand. But Huizhua clearly said your hands are too dirty, hands that kill and set fires. They deserve to be chopped off. The mocking smile vanished from Lin Yan's lips. She coldly ordered the guards beside her, hold her down. Right now, I'll help Brother Huizhua chop off her hand. Let me go. Tang Su certainly didn't want to be a fish on a chopping block. She fought fiercely, but her strength was no match for two professionally trained bodyguards. In an instant, she was brutally pinned to the ground, completely immobilized. Let me go. Let me go. It was Lin Yan who killed people. She murdered my grandmother and tried to kill Madame Lin. The one who deserves to die is her. Why are you cutting off my hand? Because, Lin Yanyan drawled lazily. Wiswa loves me, Lin Yanyan. With that, she mustered all her strength and swung the knife down toward Tang Su's hand. Clang! Before the sharp blade could touch Tang Su's hand, Lu Huaizwa kicked it away with one powerful stroke. Huaizwa! Lin Yanyan gasped in shock. She never expected Lu Huaizwa to show up so suddenly. Quickly suppressing her panic, tears instantly clouded her eyes. Huaizwa, please don't think I'm a wicked woman, okay? I'm just so heartbroken. Thinking about how my mom has become a vegetative patient, possibly never waking up again. I feel like I'd rather kill myself. Nyan, how could I ever think you're wicked? I just don't want to stain your hands, Lu Huaizwa said gently. He bent down, picked up the knife from the floor, his movements graceful, yet as cold and sharp as steel. I'll chop off her hands myself. Tang Su clutched her chest tightly. There, the pain burned like fire searing through oil. Tears blurred her vision as she gazed at Lu Huaizwa, her mind drifting far, far away. She couldn't help remembering when their love had been strongest, when she mended his school uniform and accidentally pricked her finger with the needle. He had gently placed her injured fingertip into his mouth, soothing it with tenderness, then threw away her entire sewing kit as if it were a deadly weapon, forbidding her from touching needles ever again. She laughed at him for overreacting. Azwa, it's just a tiny wound, nothing serious. But he had looked completely serious. No one will ever hurt my Su. If they do, I won't forgive them. Half a lifetime passed, through storms of swords and frost. In the end, the one who wounded her the deepest was him. Perhaps her heart was simply too tired. Tang Su stopped struggling altogether. As the sharp edge of the blade descended upon her hand, she wearily closed her eyes. Tang Su, let's get a divorce. Perhaps her heart was truly too weary. Tang Su didn't struggle anymore. The moment the sharp blade touched her hand, she closed her eyes in exhaustion. In that instant of darkness, she heard someone calling her name, Tang Su, with unbearable agony. Then again calling her Su. Just like that cold, aloof boy from her past, who had given her all his tenderness, whispering sweetly, Su. She knew clearly this tenderness was just an illusion, because she missed her boy so deeply, her Azwa. But her Azwa had already been buried along with her shattered heart in the flood of time, never to return. When Tang Su woke up, it was already the next morning. To her astonishment, she found herself back in the small apartment in Lu Lane. Her hand hadn't been brutally chopped off. Lu Huaizwa stood tall by the window, his back facing her. She cautiously called out, Azwa. Lu Huaizwa turned around abruptly. Was it her imagination? For a fleeting second, she saw in his eyes an unfamiliar emotion, pain. But in an instant, his gaze was once again filled only with icy indifference and disgust. So, not pretending to be dead anymore. Lu Huaizwa sneered. Before Tang Su could speak, he added coldly, Tang Su, let's get a divorce. Divorce. Tang Su's chest tightened uncontrollably. She had known all along that after their reunion, he had forced her into marriage only to punish and torment her. Yet now, hearing him demand divorce, she still felt indescribable sorrow. Call her pathetic, shameless if you will. She didn't want to divorce Lu Huaizwa. She wanted to die with the identity of his wife, buried beneath yellow earth. It felt like an eternity before Tang Su finally found her voice. Her voice was hoarse and trembling, clearly overwhelmed by grief. Azwa, you said you'd never divorce me in this life. You said we'd stay bound until death. You. Lu Huaizwa cut her off with a cold laugh. What? After playing your games, do you still want to keep spending money to disgust yourself? Tang Su had so much more she wanted to say, but those words wounded her too deeply. For a moment, she could only stammer, Azwa, I won't divorce you. I won't divorce you. For a moment, she could only stammer, Azwa, I won't divorce you. I won't divorce you. Lu Huaizwa completely ignored her plea. He slammed a stack of papers into her face. Sign it. Tang Su looked down. The bold characters, divorce agreement, stabbed painfully into her eyes. She knew Lu Huaizwa was rushing to divorce her, so he could officially marry Lin Yanyan. Her broken body couldn't stop him, but she refused to let Lin Yanyan have her way so easily. She would cling to the title of Mrs. Lu until her dying breath. With force, she threw both copies of the divorce agreement onto the floor. Chin raised defiantly, she spoke stubbornly, Azwa, I won't sign. If Lin Yanyan wants to become Mrs. Lu, she'll have to wait until I'm dead. Seeing Tang Su's unyielding defiance, Lu Huaizwa's deep eyes darkened sharply. His voice grew even colder, as if echoing from the peak of a frozen mountain. His voice grew even colder, as if echoing from the peak of a frozen mountain. Tang Su, don't test my patience. Sign. You leave with nothing. Tang Su had originally intended to fight him to the end. But at the words, leave with nothing, she suddenly changed her mind. Slowly, she picked up the divorce papers from the floor. Azwa, if you want me to divorce you, then pay me 1 million. Otherwise, You'll never be able to marry your beloved woman openly in this lifetime. Humph. His thin lips curled, releasing a single icy syllable. Suddenly, Lu Huizhua grabbed Tang Su's hand tightly. 1 million. Tang Su, you never forget that bastard child, do you? Too bad your plan is doomed to fail. That brat must die. With that, Lu Huizhua roughly shoved the pen into Tang Su's hand, forcefully guiding her fingers to sign the divorce agreement without any chance for resistance. Azwa, if I die, it will be fine. I won't sign. Azwa, unless you give me 1 million, don't even think about getting my signature. Holding tightly to her position as Mrs. Lu, demanding 1 million from Lu Huizhua, this was Tang Su's best plan to save Xiao Shun. So she absolutely could not easily sign this divorce agreement. But Lu Huizhua was too strong. No matter how hard she struggled, he still grabbed her hand and slowly wrote her name on the divorce papers, stroke by stroke. In the end, he pressed her fingerprint onto it, signed and sealed. Lu Huizhua placed the 2 copies of the divorce agreement into a folder. Tang Su instantly lost all her strength. Lu Huizhua had been her lifelong obsession. No matter how much he tormented her, she loved him deeply. She thought that after her death in a month, her epitaph would read his wife. But now, Tang Su had no more connection with Lu Huizhua. Marriage, love, none of it mattered anymore. Weakly collapsing beside the bed, when Tang Su raised her face again, most of it was already soaked with tears. Azwa, please, just give me 1 million, okay? I know you hate me, wish me 1,000 cuts of pain. But for the sake of our time as husband and wife, could you lend me 1 million? I have cancer, late-stage stomach cancer. If your greatest wish is for me to die, then soon enough, it'll come true. Please, just give me 1 million to save Xiao Shun. Cancer? Late-stage stomach cancer? Lu Huizhua couldn't help but frown, especially at the word die, which pierced his heart like a knife. He looked at the woman beside the bed with complex eyes. She looked pale, disheveled, indescribably worn out. Could it be she really had a terminal illness? Almost immediately, he dismissed the thought. Her health had always been good. How could she possibly have cancer? This woman was the most hypocritical, the best at pretending to be pitiful. He wouldn't fall for her tricks. Good that you die. Lu Huizhua sneered, his lips curling with icy mockery. Tang Su, dying alone must be lonely. On the road to the underworld, that bastard child can keep you company. After saying this, Lu Huizhua left without another glance, turning and walking straight out of the room. Only after the door slammed shut did Tang Su snap back from the intense pain. Good that you die. Tang Su, dying alone must be lonely. On the road to the underworld, that bastard child can keep you company. So after half a lifetime of devotion, her genuine feelings were misplaced. All she received was his cold words. Good that you die. Even being pierced by 10,000 arrows couldn't hurt this much. Azwa, if I die, it will be fine. Although Tang Su's wounds had been briefly treated, the raw, open injuries still caused unbearable agony. Combined with the increasingly frequent pain of late-stage cancer, she curled up in the corner of the bed, drenched in cold sweat, questioning the meaning of life itself. The phone rang urgently, like a death knell. Seeing it was an unknown number, she hesitated briefly before answering. The caller was a director from a film crew where she had worked briefly as an extra. The director said he was about to shoot an MV and felt her image and aura were perfect for the role. If she played the female lead, she could become instantly famous. Tang Su, a dying person, had never dreamed of fame. What moved her was the director's promised payment of 100,000 yuan. 100,000 wasn't close to 1 million, but it meant a slightly better chance for Xiao Shun to survive. The director arranged to meet her at a hotel. She knew the entertainment industry had its unwritten rules, and the meeting location felt sensitive. But the director said they'd only be discussing the MV's plot, and several other staff members, both men and women, would be there too, so she didn't need to worry. With the director saying this, if she kept refusing, she'd seem overly dramatic. Tang Su picked a long-sleeved shirt to cover her wounds, lightly applied some makeup to make herself look slightly healthier, took a painkiller, and quickly headed to the hotel. Just as she arrived at the door of the designated room, the door suddenly swung open, and a fat, greasy hand yanked her violently inside. Don't touch me! When she worked as an extra, the director had helped her, and she thought well of him. She never expected he'd have ulterior motives tonight. Of course, she wouldn't let him get his way. She struggled fiercely to break free from his grip, but suddenly he slammed her against the door, humiliating her shamelessly. Let me go. You want money, don't you? Spend the night with me nicely, and I'll make sure you're well paid. Tang Su did want money, desperately, crazily wanted it, but she'd never considered selling her body. Sometimes she found it laughable. Lu Huizhua had already gotten Lin Yanyan pregnant, yet she still clung to the idea of preserving herself for him. Who exactly was she trying to spite? With a sharp slap across the director's face, she seized the momentary shock to wrench free from his grasp and rush toward the door. The door was right there within reach, but before her hand could grab the knob, the director grabbed her shoulder and threw her violently to the ground. Get off me! Don't touch me! Stay away from me! Tang Su twisted painfully, barely dodging the director's hands. Just as she tried to rise again and dash for the exit, a searing, explosive pain tore through her stomach, her abdomen. Tang Su twisted painfully, barely dodging the director's hands. Just as she tried to rise again and dash for the exit, a searing, explosive pain tore through her stomach, her abdomen. Cold sweat poured down her forehead. Her body went limp, like mud crushed underfoot, utterly powerless. Seeing Tang Su subdued, the director smirked triumphantly. Why didn't you behave earlier? Would have saved me all this effort. This energy will come in handy with you anyway. With a sinister laugh, he loomed over her, his heavy body pressing down. Just as Tang Su felt humiliation closing in on her, threatening to crush her completely, the door burst open violently. Lu Huizhua stood at the entrance, radiating fury like a storm, pulling Tang Su's shattered consciousness back from the brink. The director scrambled off Tang Su and deliberately adjusted his pants. Remembering Lin Yanyan's instructions, he hastily pulled several thick stacks of 100 yuan bills from his briefcase and flung them onto Tang Su. Good job tonight. We'll continue tomorrow evening. Bang! Lu Huizhua's fist crashed into the director's fat, greasy face, twisting it sideways. Terrified by Lu's overwhelming presence, the director instantly shrank from smug satisfaction into cowering submission. Third young Master Lu, what exactly have I done to offend you? Tell me, I'll change. Third young Master Lu, I just paid for some fun tonight. I don't think I've wronged you. Glancing at Tang Su still collapsed on the floor, the director feigned sudden realization. Third young Master Lu, could it be you've taken a liking to this woman yourself? Frantically, he pulled out another stack of cash and tossed it onto Tang Su. She's quite expensive, you know, 20,000 per session. I used her twice tonight, 40,000 total. Here's another 40,000, 2 more sessions for your enjoyment. Bang! Another brutal punch smashed into the director's face. The man whimpered in terror, scrambling and crawling out of the room in panic. Humph! Lu Huizhua stared coldly at the stacks of 100 yuan bills scattered over Tang Su, his gaze icy to the extreme, his voice dripping with frost. Tang Su, you really are something. 20,000 per time? Did you rush to this old man because you thought I didn't give you enough before? Tang Su wanted to tell Lu Huizhua that nothing had happened between her and the director. Tang Su, since you're so desperate for a man, fine, I'll grant your wish. He gave Tang Su to another man. Tang Su thought Lu Huizhua was going to force himself on her when he threw her onto the bed, but unexpectedly, he brought her to a place called Huanfei Yanzhou. In the same private room were several repulsive old men, greasy and vile. These men were regulars at Huanfei Yanzhou. Though they'd been with countless women, none had ever compared to Tang Su's breathtaking beauty. The moment their eyes landed on her naturally alluring face, a wolfish green gleam flashed in their gaze. Tang Su's stomach still tore with pain, and she had no patience for these old men. She struggled to support herself against the wall, staggering toward the door. Tang Su, go ahead and leave, but take one step outside this room, and I guarantee that bastard child won't see tomorrow's sun. Hearing Lu Huizhua's bone-chilling threat, Tang Su froze instantly. He always knew exactly how to seize her weakest point, and she didn't even have the strength to resist. Slowly sinking back into her seat, the old men grew bolder, pouring drink after drink into her glass. Her stomach was already riddled with wounds, hypersensitive to irritation. She didn't want to drink, but remembering Lu Huizhua's threat, she gritted her teeth and downed cup after cup. Mr. Lu, this young lady. After several rounds of drinking, the men's gazes grew increasingly brazen. Clearly, they couldn't wait to take her to a hotel and lose themselves in drunken pleasure. Lu Huizhua glanced at Tang Su without a trace of emotion, then curled his lips in a cold, mocking smile. The smile didn't reach his eyes, making his frosty, distant face appear even more heartless. Just a fickle woman. Do whatever you want. The old men exchanged delighted glances. They'd been wary before. Since Lu Huizhua had brought her here, they feared she might be someone special to him. But now that he'd said that, they felt free to follow their desires. Tang Su's face turned deathly pale. Do whatever you want. How thoughtful of Lu Huizhua. He'd even found her so many disgusting old men. She ignored the fat, greasy hands groping her body, instead staring blankly at the man before her who had become a stranger. He still looked as handsome as 4 years ago. The same brows, the same eyes, the same straight nose, the same thin lips. Yet she felt like she no longer recognized him. She had always refused to admit it, but now she had to face reality. He was no longer her Azwa, the Azwa who had doted on her unconditionally, who had cherished her above all else. That Azwa had died, buried in her memories from when she was 18. Tang Su turned her head, looking at the hand touching her body, and suddenly let out a soft laugh. So seductive, so stunning, it could topple kingdoms. Just a fickle woman. Back then, she had fought Jing Hao to the death just to keep herself pure for him, enduring 4 years of living hell. And yet, in his heart, she was nothing but a promiscuous woman. She should have known all along, but she simply hadn't wanted to believe that her Azwa would treat her this way. If he truly saw her as a fickle woman, then today, she might as well fully embrace that label. Gently taking that hand in hers, Tang Su softly traced a circle in his palm. Boss, it's not convenient here. Why don't we go upstairs to a private room? Bang! The wine glass in Lu Huizhua's hand shattered violently, sharp shards digging deep into his palm, blood gushing out. He didn't even flinch. Tonight, he had meant to humiliate Tang Su, but instead, that shameless woman thrived while he was left seething, questioning his own sanity. Mr. Li had already been mesmerized by Tang Su's enchanting smile moments earlier. Now, with her actively throwing herself at him, he trembled with excitement, completely oblivious to Lu Huizhua's reaction. His voice caught in his throat, his jowls quivering. Gee, good. Upstairs. Let's go upstairs. Beauty, you're so gorgeous. I'll give you anything. I'll even give you my life. With that, Mr. Li excitedly pulled Tang Su into his arms and pressed his lips to hers. Who has late-stage stomach cancer. Bang! The sound of a shattered wine bottle abruptly echoed in the private room that Lu Huizhua had actually smashed the red wine bottle on Manager Li's head. Everyone around found Lu Huizhua's actions inexplicable, yet no one dared to speak up or criticize, only cowered silently, trying to appease him. Without even glancing at the blood-soaked, screaming Manager Li, under everyone's stunned gazes, Lu Huizhua grabbed Tang Su from Manager Li's arms and stormed toward Lu Lane, consumed by raging fury. Back in the private room moments earlier, Tang Su had been desperately holding herself upright. Her stomach was already fragile beyond belief. Drinking so much alcohol on an empty stomach, then being jostled in a speeding sports car, now made her feel as if her stomach was bleeding internally. The moment they arrived at Lu Lane, Lu Huizhua roughly threw her onto the big bed. Tang Su gasped in pain, barely able to breathe. Ignoring his anger, all she wanted was to find painkillers to ease the agony in her stomach. With great difficulty, she fumbled around until finally finding the medicine bottle on the nightstand. Inside was only one pill left. Seeing that single pill, she clutched it like her last lifeline. She poured it into her palm and quickly brought it to her mouth. Before she could swallow it, Lu Huizhua snatched the pill away. Tang Su, taking emergency contraception again? Meet one man, and you throw yourself at him. How fucking cheap can you be? No, Azwa, it's not that. It's a painkiller. Tang Su reached out weakly. Azwa, give me the pill. Azwa, give me the pill. My stomach hurts so much. Hurts? Ha! Lu Huizhua's cold laugh sent chills down the spine. You don't feel pain when selling your body, but now you know it hurts? Tang Su, a woman like you, sleeping around with anyone, deserves to die in agony. He cast a disdainful glance at the pill in her hand, then callously hurled it out the window. Azwa, no. Tang Su tried to grab it back but failed to catch it. The pain of terminal cancer was unbearable. Many patients didn't die from physical exhaustion, but from being tortured to death by pain. Tang Su's lips turned purple from the pain. She just wanted relief, but the life-saving pill was gone, leaving her helpless. She just wanted relief, but the life-saving pill was gone, leaving her helpless. Crawling painfully to the window, she stared despairingly at the bustling city outside. Lights flickered everywhere, countless homes glowing warmly, but none belonged to her. Azwa, look at all those lights. Su, in the snowy night we return home, among 10,000 glowing windows, that is our home. When had someone whispered those tender words into her ear? But Azwa, where is our home now? I've lost our home. I have no home anymore. Tang Su, tell me, how many men have you been with? His accusation snapped her drifting thoughts back. In the next second, he violently flipped her over, causing her to writhe like a fish out of water, curling into a ball, gasping for air. Azwa, only you. I've only ever had you. Ha! The sarcasm in Lu Huizhua's smile deepened. Or pretending to be virtuous. Tang Su, you truly disgust me. Brutal. Violent. Possessive. Afterward, Tang Su was utterly broken, tumbling helplessly off the bed onto the floor, her stomach pain making her dry heave uncontrollably. Blood streaked through the acidic vomit. A drop of bloody bile landed on Lu Huizhua's foot. His eyes filled with undisguised revulsion. Tang Su, you're filthy. Pain blurred Tang Su's consciousness. Instinctively, she shook her head. Azwa. I'm not dirty. I'm sick. I'm just sick. Seeing her pitiful state, Lu Huizhua's chest tightened. Thinking she vomited so badly because of what they'd done, that she found him disgusting, his gaze darkened ominously. She found him repulsive, yet didn't feel disgusted by Jing Hao or those other vile older men. She found him repulsive, yet didn't feel disgusted by Jing Hao or those other vile older men. He must be a fool to have obsessed over her all these years. Rage surged through Lu Huizhua once more. With sudden force, he flung Tang Su onto the nearby sofa. Just as he prepared to torment her again, a mouthful of fresh blood burst from her lips. Then, like a shattered porcelain doll, she collapsed motionless onto the floor. Tang Su! Lu Huai's eyes widened in horror. He didn't even realize how panicked his voice sounded. Without hesitation, he scooped up her broken body and rushed to the hospital. Holding her in his arms, he realized how terrifyingly light she was. He remembered she used to have some weight. When had she become so thin? And how long had it been since he last held her properly? At the hospital, doctors immediately wheeled Tang Su into the emergency room. Lu Huizwa waited outside, tormented by anxiety. When the emergency doors finally opened, he rushed forward desperately. "Doctor, how is she?" The doctor's face was full of disapproval. "Late-stage stomach cancer, and she still drinks this much? She's playing with her life. You might as well prepare to collect her corpse." Lu Huizwa froze, as if centuries passed in an instant before he regained his voice. He heard himself whispering like a sleepwalker. Who has late-stage stomach cancer? Who are you telling me to collect the body of? Don't you dare die, Tang Su." The doctor seemed completely unaware that the man before her was Lu Huizwa, the renowned third young master of Haiqing. Unlike other doctors who would be extremely cautious and nervous around him, she treated him with no special deference. The middle-aged female doctor pushed up her glasses and asked in confusion, "You didn't even know the patient has stomach cancer? Are you really a family member?" Before Lu Huizwa could respond, the doctor frowned and continued, "She's in such pain yet hasn't taken any medicine. The patient is truly treating her body like a joke." Lu Huizwa froze. At that moment, he couldn't describe what he felt. He hadn't known Tang Su had late-stage gastric cancer. But one thing he did know, Tang Su hadn't refused to take medicine, he had thrown it away. She simply couldn't get it. She simply couldn't get it. Recalling how Tang Su had lunged toward the window, desperately trying to grab back the medicine but failing, her face twisted in despair, Lu Huizwa felt as if his heart were being sliced apart. He clutched his chest tightly, yet the pain still made his body convulse uncontrollably. He never knew a heart could hurt this much. After he forced himself on her, she vomited blood. He thought she was filthy. She kept saying, "I'm not dirty. I'm just sick." Now he realized she really was sick. Who exactly are you to the patient? Are you actually a relative? If not, please find the real family member. It'd be better for them to spend more time with her before she dies. "She won't die." Lu Huizwa suddenly exploded, lifting his face sharply, his eyes bloodshot as he stared at the female doctor, making her legs go weak, nearly collapsing to the floor. "I won't let her die. No one will make her die." The doctor took another step back, keeping a relatively safe distance from Lu Huizwa. Summoning her courage, she said stiffly, "Sir, please face reality. Given her condition, surviving a week would be pushing it. You should start preparing yourselves." Having spoken, the doctor, fearing Lu Huizwa might snap again, stole a glance at him and quickly hurried toward the nearby office. It was good she ran fast. Had she been just a second slower, Lu Huizwa would have snapped her neck for spouting such nonsense. "Azwa, do you know why brides wear white veils at weddings nowadays? Because it means growing old together, white-haired and hand in hand. Azwa, when we get married, I'll wear a white veil too, and be your most beautiful bride. Azwa, I want to grow old with you." Yes, she had promised they'd grow old together. She wouldn't leave him. Like a madman, Lu Huizwa snatched Tang Su into his arms the moment she was wheeled out of the emergency room. "Tang Su, as long as you can live, as long as you still want to grow old with me, no matter how deeply you've betrayed me, no matter what unforgivable things you've done, you'll always be my Su. Tang Su, as long as you can live, as long as you still want to grow old with me, no matter how deeply you've betrayed me, no matter what unforgivable things you've done, you'll always be my Su." When Tang Su woke up, it was already the next morning. Dazed and groggy, just like the last time she passed out, she kept feeling a pair of warm, strong hands tightly gripping hers. And someone kept calling her Su in a soft, tender voice. Tang Su thought she must be dreaming again. But when she opened her eyes, she met Lu Huizwa's bloodshot gaze staring right at her. "Azwa! Azwa!" Tang Su looked at him in disbelief. Then, lowering her eyes, she gave a self-mocking smile. "I'm dreaming again. I actually dreamed my Azwa came back to me." Su, you're not dreaming. It's me." Lu Huizwa tightened his grip on her small hand. Su, iya vagzo. I'll always be your Azwa." His grip was so strong it hurt, confirming to her that this wasn't a dream. Her expression shifted to deeper shock. Just as she was about to ask why he was acting so strangely, he spoke, his voice hoarse. "Su, why didn't you tell me you were sick? Why didn't you tell me about this damn illness?" Tang Su's eyelids twitched. She knew now that Lu Huizwa had found out about her late-stage stomach cancer. "Azwa, I told you before. You just didn't believe me." Hearing this, Lu Huizwa's entire body jolted. He suddenly remembered, When she had come to him asking for money for Xiao Shun, she had mentioned her illness. What had he said then? Right, he said. Good, die already. At the time, those words had filled him with cruel satisfaction. Now, they tore through him like a knife carving flesh from bone. Unable to contain the storm of emotions inside, Lu Huazhua pulled Tang Su fiercely into his arms, whispering over and over again. Su, you won't die. You won't die. You will grow old with me. Azwa. Tang Su hugged him back, just as tightly. In the final moments of her life, for him to finally open his heart to her, it was a joy she never dared hope for. Suso, here. Nestled in his arms, feeling the steady, powerful beat of his heart, Tang Su had never felt such fulfillment. She decided to seize the moment, to get him to accept Xiaoshen too. Azwa, I never lied to you. Xiaoshen is truly your biological son. Please, go get a paternity test with him, okay? Once you do the test, you'll know I never betrayed you. Please, go get a paternity test with him, okay? Once you do the test, you'll know I never betrayed you. And I never killed our child. Lu Huazhua's eyes darkened. The image of her entwined with Jing Hao would forever be a thorn in his heart. But now, he was willing to let it go for her sake. All right, I'll go do the paternity test, with that little brat. I mean with Xiaoshen. Hearing him agree, Tang Su burst into ecstatic joy. Azwa, once you confirm Xiaoshen is your son, will you lend me money for his surgery? If he doesn't have the operation soon, he won't last long. Please, I beg you, save our Xiaoshen. Su, I promise you, whatever it takes, as long as you stay alive, even if you want my life, I'll give it to you. His lips gently brushed against hers, soft, lingering, tender and full of sorrow, as if she were the most precious thing in his world. Thinking of Lin Yanyan carrying his child, and how he had pressured her into divorce for Lin Yanyan's sake, Tang Su still felt a pang of sadness. But she was already half buried in the earth. She didn't dare ask for much. To have him by her side at the end of her life, willing to lend money for Xiaoshen's surgery, and perhaps even raise Xiaoshen in the future, this alone was already an unimaginable blessing. Lu Huazhua had originally intended to stay by Tang Su's side constantly. But Lin Yanyan's wound had become severely infected. She had high fever, fainted, and was in critical condition. He had no choice but to go see her. After instructing the doctors to take good care of Tang Su, he rushed to the hospital where Lin Yanyan was. Lin Yanyan was in terrible shape. She spent nearly 5 hours in emergency surgery before she was finally out of danger. Worried about Tang Su, Lu Huazhua distractedly muttered a few words to Lin Yanyan before hurrying back as fast as he could. Just as he was about to enter Tang Su's ward, he heard a doctor speaking on the phone in the hallway. Yeah, this patient is really strange. Of all things to fake, she insists on pretending she has late-stage stomach cancer. Never seen such a bizarre case before. Fatherly love, he had yearned for it his entire life. Lu Huazhua's large hand on the doorknob of the hospital room froze. The foot he had lifted simply could not move forward. The doctor's grumbling continued from inside. When I first saw this patient, I was terrified. Her mouth was full of blood. But turns out she bit open a blood blister in her mouth. What are these young people even thinking these days? Falling in love, and then acting like life isn't worth living. A couple argues, just talk it out. Why would anyone curse themselves with a terrible illness like cancer? Of course I agreed to help her. You didn't see her in the emergency room. She was hysterical, threatening to smash her head into the wall if I didn't lie for her. How could I say no? The doctor vented for several more minutes before finally hanging up. When she turned around, she saw Lu Huazhua standing at the doorway. She immediately put on a shocked expression. Why you, sir? How long have you been there? Who said someone is faking terminal stomach cancer? Lu Huazhua's face remained unchanged, but within his cold, lifeless eyes, an endless tide of fury suddenly surged, violent, suffocating, so terrifying it made one tremble uncontrollably. The doctor took a step back, clearly guilty and avoiding eye contact. Sir, you must have misheard me. Terminal cancer isn't something anyone would fake. Click! Lu Huazhua stepped forward, his well-defined fingers clamping around the female doctor's throat like iron vices. He hadn't even spoken yet, but his overwhelming rage already crushed down on her, making it hard to breathe. Sir. I didn't. I really didn't. His grip suddenly tightened. Her words shattered instantly in her throat. She thought he was about to explode, but then, unexpectedly, he laughed. When he didn't smile, he exuded a chilling coldness that kept others at bay. But when he did smile, it was as if a frozen mountain collided with scorching fire, not warmth but hell itself. One last time, Lu Huazhua growled. Who is faking the illness? At those words, the doctor's legs gave out. If not for his grip on her neck, she would have collapsed. She trembled violently, certain that if she lied again, she'd never speak another word in her life. Miss Tang. It's Miss Tang Su. She paid me and threatened to kill herself if I didn't cooperate. I had no choice but to lie to you. She's perfectly healthy. She's not suffering from terminal stomach cancer. The bleeding came from biting a blood blister in her mouth. Sir, I didn't mean to deceive you, I just panicked. Please forgive me. I swear I'll never do it again, Get out! Lu Huaizhua cut her off harshly. Her legs shook violently as she staggered away down the hallway. Humph. After a long silence, Lu Huaizhua let out a low chuckle. Around him, the icy chill grew even more bone-piercing, eventually settling into endless desolation. Faking terminal stomach cancer? Tang Su, you're truly impressive, but you won't be able to bear the price of deceiving me. Tang Su wasn't in her own bingfeng. She had gone to Xiao Shun's room instead. After the tension between Lu Huaizhua and Tang Su eased, he kindly transferred Xiao Shun to the same hospital where Tang Su was staying. Xiao Shun had suffered serious injuries in the car accident. Though his condition had improved after several days of treatment, Tang Su had been overwhelmed by events since the crash and hadn't visited him until now. With him here, she could finally be with him every day. Before going to see Xiao Shun, Tang Su picked up the paternity test report. Normally, such results took a few days, but Lu Huaizhua had demanded expedited processing. Within 4 hours, the official results were ready. Seeing the 4 bold red stamp characters on the document, * biological relationship confirmed *, Tang Su couldn't suppress the upward curve of her lips. Now, Lu Huaizhua could no longer believe Xiao Shun was some random child. Even if she died, knowing Xiao Shun would be cared for and loved by his father meant his future was secure. She had to tell Xiao Shun the good news right away. Xiao Shun had been badly injured in the accident, but he was recovering well. When Tang Su arrived, he was holding a piece of paper, brows furrowed in deep thought. Upon seeing her, he quickly hid the paper under his blanket. But Tang Su had sharp eyes. Despite his speed, she still caught sight of the childish handwriting on the page. What should I do if Dad hates me? Her eyes instantly stung. She sat beside him and gently stroked Xiao Shun's increasingly thin face. Xiao Shun, your dad doesn't hate you. He does. The 3-year-old, no matter how bright, couldn't hide his emotions. His usually sunny face darkened with sadness. He won't even let me call him Dad. Xiao Shun, your father really doesn't hate you. He just has a misunderstanding with Mom. He thought you weren't his child. Since she wouldn't be around forever, Xiao Shun would have to rely on Lu Huaizhua. Tang Su didn't want any lingering resentment between father and son. She pulled out the paternity report and showed it to Xiao Shun. But now it's all clear. Your father and you have been tested. You're his son. From now on, he'll truly love you. Really? Xiao Shun's small face lit up with joy. Then, hesitantly, he asked, Mom, will Dad really love me? Yes. Tang Su hugged him tightly. My Xiao Shun is so wonderful, no one could ever dislike you. Xiao Shun, your dad loves you. And from now on, you must love your dad too, just as much as you love Mom. I don't want to love him. I only love Mom. Xiao Shun pouted, but his dark, grape-like eyes sparkled. Tang Su knew he loved his father. Deeply. Desperately. Fatherly love was what he had longed for his entire life. After soothing Xiao Shun to sleep, Tang Su figured Lu Huaizhua would be returning soon. Clutching the paternity report tightly, she headed back toward her own bingfeng. So many misunderstandings had been cleared. Things would only get better from here. The moment she opened the door, Lu Huaizhua sprang from the sofa like a panther. Before she could react, he slammed her against the wall, gripping her throat tightly.